I don't know
Oh
if
my
you noticed
god.
throughout the night, whenever we're watching the killer and he's in chase, there's just no chase music. It's just eerily silent, which is a bit unnerving.
Yeah, I mean, I expect no less from DVD sometimes, but nevertheless, we'll be loading back into the match, and it will be yes, Revolution's Blight once more. Survivor spawning all the way at the bottom side, going for a 2-2 split here. 2 over the side of 3, 2 over the side of 9. We do see Jazzcus kind of stuck over here at Shack. Revolution really struggling to find a tunnel out here at the moment. Oh, sorry, a stealth out here at the moment, but we've gone all the way down to the 9 portion of that, where we know there are survivors kind of lingering around. We do see some scratch marks in the background, and like you had said, no ruin, unfortunately, this trial. So yeah, not taking advantage of the new buffs. I'm not too sure if we're actually aware of it, but we have caught 6 Hearts just kind of vaulting into our loving embrace, unfortunately, but running all the way down to the bottom side of the map, taking chase nice and far away from the generators, and he has found this filler pallet here, but he just makes it, slapping it in the face of Revolution. Very nice stuff from 6 Hearts. Going to be opting to break this pallet here, and now zone 6 Hearts all the way down into the corner edge map, and unfortunately not being able to do any flare of the sort over behind the Shack, and that will spell the first stage, the first hook of the trial, with 5 generators remaining and not much progress. I dare say that generator on the side of JD has only reached 25% and was the generator that 6 Hearts was working before having been found. We do see Jazz working main as well, and LB Duck stealthing around for the pull, which I presume is the deliverance. We do see Revolution go all the way down to main. We know somebody's working this generator here. Pop Eruption, so Pop Eruption in hand if we are able to kick Progress Generator, but we've opted to try to look around these generators over more towards the 4 and 5 side, and more towards the 3 as well. And we do know as the spectators that obviously this isn't the case. We do know only 9 and main other generators being worked, so he has rotated all the way over to 9. Hopefully we can get the pop in time, and we should do very nicely as we see the scratch marks go all the way over into 11. Pop Eruption applied to the generator over at 9. We have spotted out JD, who has forcefully taken chase to try to avoid the tunnel out here. Going to be pre-dropping that pallet very nicely on the 10 side of the map here. And now we are committing on the side of Revolution here. Getting the pallet slapped in our face. We're going to be in for a very nice chase on the side of JD, who's going to be utilizing this main building here, not choosing to use the window, but the pallet's outside, and we got that godforsaken, very lovely pallet here. Surely we heard that generator, and we just kind of dip off the chase here, but no, we opted to chase this. Oh, this is, I'm not too sure this is the right play here, Smonk.
No, definitely not, considering in the background as well, 6 Hearts has been saved and reset by Duck, who is a Deliverance player. And if we do go for Hearts, we have Unbreakable and Dead Hard available to us. This is clearly the tunnel out build. We have Hearts there lurking in the Shack. We see main building pop in the background there. First shot of the game getting popped as we do go back to this 9 generator where Duck is nearby lurking, but able to break away just barely over to where this bus now spawns on Gas Heaven. And we have a pretty decent part here. We do pre-throw it. Unfortunately, Revolution not able to get the slam there to go for a follow-up lethal rush, but we do take him over to this sort of like junk filler here. We should be able to get that tag through the power up there. Very nice tag onto Duck as we continue to chase onto him. We get our first token back, and we do have another filler pallet, and we're getting another pallet thrown on our head. We are having a bit of a concussion if we're Revolution, but we get the pallet back through the fatigue anyway. I don't know why he fatigued after he got stunned, but that's okay. As we do see Hearts kind of jump scaring Revolution, I'm sure, with the pallet break. But with that pallet break and Hearts going around that backside of the Shack, he's going to be a little bit zoned. But Revolution struggles to find the scratches and finds a little bit too late, allowing Hearts to sort of go towards what is a really cooked edge map palette, but he's going to be rotating back into the Shack window here and trying to play for the best visibility, but unfortunately that slow vault coming in a little bit late. I think I'm pinging you want to be playing that fast vault and not just hugging the window, as you'll just get hit through the medium, and unfortunately Hearts just kind of giving Revolution a big kiss on the forehead, and Revolution showing no patience for Dead Hard, as Hearts unfortunately does go down there. But we see a second gen popping in the background, thankfully for Bleedouts here, as we're trying to keep the momentum going on the side of Bleedouts, but we don't really have much other gen progress, unfortunately. I do wonder if maybe there's a secret other generator with much higher progress, but we have found our Richard Fate totem that is belonging to Jazz now, instead of Duck as it was last match. It was finally getting cleansed, but we're using our pop on a 1% generator. There's probably not another gen that's like high progress, and unfortunately Duck is also just kind of hooked in the middle of the active generators, and if we keep at this stage, Blizz are playing pretty silly, so we might be seeing a 4K result here if Hearts doesn't have a really banger last chase. Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, just really unfortunate that after escaping that chase, there was no pay money to my pain tech there. We didn't see any FTP of the sort. We did get a reset in the background though, so like, you know, we didn't escape the tunnel out as well as pay money to my pain. Revolution knows this now. He's just going to kind of park the bus here and just make sure that nobody's going to be working that shack generator. Nobody's going to be going for the save. We do know Duck is in the area as JD. And, oh, well, it was JD, sorry. Okay, as we know that, LV Duck and Jazz are in the background working generators. We do see the eruption proc in the background here. We're going to opt to go for the tunnel out here as quickly as possible onto 6 Hearts. Is going to be looping around the car fillers here, getting tagged with I do believe that is the endurance status effect. Sorry for forgetting the name of it, but he will be going all the way down to 3 now, as he has gotten a little bit of a speed boost from that pre-drop in this fill pallet here, but unfortunately not much to go on, and will not be making a way at any cost, and just now going to be out of the trial realistically. I mean, we do have decisive if we can hit it, and we do very nicely from 6 Hearts, and he will be rotating all the way down to main now. Does still have Dead Hard to work with, as you had pointed out earlier, but vaulting the window, unfortunately, should have gone for a little bit more of a fake to try and use it. Wait, I do believe they were the Dead Hard player. No, I would be sorely mistaken if they weren't. Know that they had Unbreakable on their disposal. I just can't remember the build off the top of my head, but nevertheless. Revolution now will be going on Gen Patrol as per usual. A tunnel out at 3 gens remaining, 3 survivors remaining. This is looking extremely dire for our survivors at the moment, even with so much gen pressure in the background going ham. So JD just kind of really stuck around 7, opting to go for that generator that had been kicked a little bit beforehand. And right now, Revolution now going to be taking chase onto Jazz, who's working this generator over at 5. So he's got to commit something sooner or later. Opting not to chase Jazz over in the corner, rather trying to take away this chase over at behind main. And again, like clockwork, just going to be kicking this generator. We don't. Okay, so we haven't stopped the regression, so we're not able to kick that generator. We do have eruption procced on both of those generators, so we do need a quick 2-tap if we can get one on the side of Revolution to really slow the game down. And if we do, it's going to spell absolute trouble. And this is probably going to be a 4K2 or some sort of. But a nice flare from the side of JD. He does have Deliverance in his back pocket, and Jazz will be committing that generator over at 5, getting that done as soon as possible. So maybe LV Duck injured working this 11 generator, but no, playing it very safely. Probably working shack, it's more safer gen to work, and I think Revolution has picked up onto that, and we do see it 2 pistons done, so maybe just within the vicinity on the side of our David here, who is probably just crouched stealth map, edge map somewhere. No, getting reset in the background. Okay, I was sorely mistaken. So that's really good to get that reset off, because now there's no tag on the board, no injure. You do have some progression on 2 generators at a pretty fast spread, so it looks pretty likely that they'll get another one done very soon. At the moment, the score stands 1 fresh, 3 hooks. Going to be eating that tag on the side of JD, and now going all the way to the middle side of the map. And no pallet to work with here now, unfortunately, as we have thrown it just a little bit beforehand. JD going to be going down, eruption being procced in the background. Revolution knows that this is the Deliverance player, but we've opted to slug and then go back and now take that hook, so you know we don't have to really worry about getting JD off the hook. But sorry, what were you going to say, Small?
Isn't Jelly Doc? Am I cooked? I thought Doc was a Jelly player.
Wait, he might be. Hang on, am I gaslighting here? And I think
you're gaslighting. I'm pretty sure Doc said Deliverance.
Can we get spectator? Can we get a quick flick through? I just can't remember who's Deliverance. Yeah, it is. No, you're right. That's the second.
Yeah,
oh my god. Okay. Yeah, okay, I'm chopped. All right, ignore me. So we still have Deli in the game. So we have gotten the unhook as well. 2 generators remaining at the moment. So in the background, we do see a little bit of a... Oh, I thought it was a little bit of a chase going as well. I'm gaslighting again. Oh my god, I'm just like really confused at the moment as to opposed of what the game plan is here. We've stayed very stagnant, and Revolution just really struggling to really commit something and take advantage of his scenario here, because this is a really good scenario on the side of our killer. And we saw last week against Omen that Bleedout was able to really recover from an early tunnel out as well. I do believe it was on the Lich set that they recovered from, you know, 2 generators remaining, 3 survivors to do it. So we are getting quick tags though, and this is pretty bad for our survivors. Jazz going to be taking chase all the way down to the 9 side of the map. Has this pallet over at the bus to work with, going to be vaulting that instantly. Now playing it accordingly. The check spots. Oh, how good is he on them? He's consistent. He's on the 16 MS. But no, going down. He's not on 16 MS, I don't believe, because this is a Chinese server, so he'd be something along the lines of 60, and then other survivors would be on like maybe 150 to 200, depending on where their location is in Australia. We're taking that hook onto Jazz now and going all the way back to Gen Patrol as per usual, Small.
I hate to pray and Bleedout's downfall, and I'm not, but It's looking like a 4K1 here, maybe a 4K2. The generator that he's rushing over with now is pretty high prog, and he did waste his pop on what? Holy shit, that gen's at 0. That was 99 like a few minutes ago, so that's really bad for Bleedouts. And Jazz has died in the middle of the 4gen. Problems, team? Yeah, not looking great for Bleedouts, and I hate to pray on that downfall, but I am kind of hoping that they don't prevail on the blood set solely because I wanna see them on the unknown set. I really do. And we get a very nice tag on the JD there to get a bit of a tag, and likely Duck rotating in, taking that as his signal to go for the unhook, but we do see Revolution getting the eruption there first before he goes back for a potential tunnel out onto Jazz or a tag onto JD. Onto Duck, sorry, if he wants his fresh hook. And we do find some lingering scratch marks here, but we find no one nearby as we do see some scratch marks here though, and I don't believe there's any blood amongst these scratches, so this should be Duck, and Jazz is nowhere to be seen. He's a ghost on the wind, and JD likely playing aggressive for this 9 generator, unless they've decided to go just really play really solid reset. But no, we see JD rotating back down to main building, and Revolution could come to probably chase us. I think he can go for a nice little down here, as JD doesn't really have much to work with other than just, you know, a flare and a prayer, but unfortunately no god answered him as he does go down there on the ground, proccing the eruption of the gen over there. But one thing working against Revolution here is the gen kick limit. So once he does reach that gen kick limit on this generator, it's going to be just free prog for Bleedouts whenever they want. And Jazz being still injured here tells me that him and Duck have split up and are just prioritizing gen doing over resetting, because Duck has real make it, and if he had the opportunity to reset Jazz, he would have, but we can see Jazz is already pre-stopped miles away from any of the active generators, although there is a lingering harpy near him, but Revolution does not find him at all, as he does just roll back over to the stack gen here. It's barely progress, so he's not even going to bother kicking it, and he's probably just going to head back over to the gen here. Maybe try and go for a tunnel on JD, just bring it to a 2v1, or at least secure this decent result he has here, and I think Duck's here and does take a cheeky little tag there, but unfortunately not making as much distance as he maybe should have, and he doesn't have a lot to work with here unless he has one of the titular edge map pallets, but no, he will just be going down. This will be the last fresh hook of the map, but this is also a Denny player, so this leaves JD and Jazz to just get that gen progression that they so desperately need in this situation to prevent a possible 4K2.
Yeah, it's still looking pretty rough. I mean, we're doubling this generator over at Shack as well to really try and get some more pressure on the board. And, you know, it's a gamble. If Revolution's smart enough, just rushes all the way down to the Shack here. And, you know, yeah, now the Deliverance will be coming into the play on the side of LV Duck and like clockwork. It does happen in the background, but we have interrupted this generator here. We'll be taking pop. The pop goes the Weasel and Eruption proc onto that generator, so I'm not too sure if it only really has one more damage proc on it left, as we do see the spikes get awfully close to the very top. And for those who don't know, after 4 kicks on a generator, the spikes start to rise, and I do believe that would have been around 7 kicks on the generator, so I'm not too sure if he'll be able to really go back and kick that as soon as he gets his eruption onto Shack. So, you know, he really want to make use of that. Jazz, beautiful dead hard into the killer. You love to see it. He is the low ping survivor, so that makes more sense than what I thought previously at the start of this trial. We do see the generator actually get stop progressing on the side of JD, who's now opted to stealth around the 7 portion of the map. Now, Revolution just trying to find one of these injured survivors to really take advantage of the situation. They're just playing really safe at the moment, trying to pre-leave these generators very nicely, very quickly. Revolution now taking the kick onto 11, and it's going to go back all the way down to Shack now. So he's just been kind of ping-ponging back and forth between these generators. And now I do believe that we're not able to really kick this generator here. He's going to try and attempt to maybe, but we do see some scratch marks here. Have they leaded back into the basement or they leaded to the corner of Shack? They've leaded to the corner of Shack, and this will be Jazz in chase once more. We'll be trying to force lock it here. Revolution trying to block the window. BP Bo Fat! No, he almost made that. That could have been really bad. He's going to opt to slug here. It's probably the smart decision to go for the survivor on that generator, especially if it's LB Duck. And it does look like it is our injured David, who's going to be trying to run all the way down to the back of main very quickly, and he has done so very nicely. Revolution trying to really fly amongst this. He almost gets a very nice flick to... Oh, if we got that flick, that would have surely secured the 4K2. We do pick up Jazz in the background on the side of JD. LV Duck still playing very good for what it's worth, pre-dropping that main filler there. And does have this one to work with as well. Going to be utilizing alongside of the L-War. Going to be making the window too. Revolution barely, narrowly missing that hit, unfortunately. Now he's just going to be choosing to play safe and go all the way back down to Shaq, as we do see that Jazz is still injured in the background. Hopefully, Jazz has made enough distance to pre-leave and not get tagged and not get hit. But we have caught him over at the corner of 7, and he is zoned. He does not have any pallet to work with. Nothing of the sort. Will be going down very quickly, and this will be the second stage onto him, as his teammates in the background are really going to fight to pull it back for at least the 4K1. It doesn't look likely that they're going to be getting outs here, especially if we're able to get JD out of the game. But a very fortunate thing for us survivors is that he is healthy, and he has rotated all the way down to the 8 side of the map, just kind of hiding in this bus that has had its pallet thrown. 11 in the background being slammed out by LV Duck, and Revolution really nowhere to be found at the moment. He is rotating all the way back down to the bottom of the map here. This, you know what, as crazy as this sounds, I do want to say it's still doable for the side of Bleedouts, but Revolution does really need this down onto Jazz here. Going to be missing that hit there, unfortunately, but no speed boost for the side of Jazz, not taking the endurance status effect. But sorry, what did you say, Smoke? I did.
He's out of gen case, so he can't kick the gens. Stay from Jazz.
Ooh, the slap at the power too. That's crazy. And we're going to opt to lead this now, because that was a very nice step hard. That has slowed down the game for our killer here. JD able to make that window too. This is, you know what? Yeah, he's not able to kick that generator. You are right.
Both of them.
If they get both of them on the generator and he overcommits the chase, they surely get outs from here. But I don't really see Revolution letting that happen. He does take another tag. Do have two other survivors in the trial injured. Have they gone for a reset, or have they played greedy for the gen? Does look like they've played greedy for the gen, because they do see some scratch marks leading all the way over into the shack. But we do manage to catch out one of our survivors here, LV Duck, who will be going down. That's definitely not what you need at the moment, but we're going to be slugging on the side of Revolution, as there are 2 survivors that are still injured in the trial. If we're able to really find one, I'd just say it chalk things up to a 4K1. Yeah, we played so greedy for that. Wait, this could still be out, Tismon.
Maybe Jazz does need to rotate for a pickup, potentially get a door open as well, but he's already rotated over to main. And honestly, this could potentially be outs. Maybe just a couple stages, but we could see outs here anyway. As Revolution we didn't realize while those chases were happening, but both of these generators were at their limit, so any progress made was permanent. Very greedy there from Duck to go for that. Sorry, from JD to go for that full finish. They could have afforded to play super slow as the gen kick limit was reached, so they could have just gone at the back of the map, fully reset, come back in and just pop the gen anyway for much less pressure. But this is still good form from Bleedouts anyway, as we do see Jazz just sort of lurking in main maybe. He could have maybe opened the door that I think is near main. No, we have some bass doors here, unfortunately, and Duck's down right in the middle of them, I'm pretty sure, as Jazz might need to play for Duck and then split the gens. We do see a pickup coming through onto Duck. Revolution knowing exactly where both survivors are at this point in time. He's going to be rushing down to try and cut them off, but they need to reset before they start trying to tackle these doors, and they need to play it really slow, because there's only 2 serves left, and those doors are within line of sight of each other, so they're not great doors. Hello, Jazz. So Duck, he's just sort of sitting there. Unfortunately, he is going to be getting tagged through that lethal rush, and Jazz likely rotating back over to the door on the far left side of the map here, but no, with Duck going down here, he's just forced to retreat into the back of the map and play it super slow, so the game's slowing down a bit here now that we're back down to 2 survivors. He could afford to hook Duck basement and just call it a day, because is he close enough? I don't think he is. He could hook Duck. He doesn't need to really slug him and bleed him out. He could hook him, have the time to hook him, and then just, you know, do it there. We do see a Crow landing here, but we know that Jazz is nowhere nearby, and Revolution has all the time in the world to go for a hook here if he wants to, but he's very concerned about his doors, and it's just a safer play in general to slug Duck, so I don't really blame him for it, as he can kind of keep an eye on the slugger from a distance, and as soon as Duck gets picked up, we know that Jazz is, you know, on him, but we might be seeing maybe a bit of a trauma tech, maybe not for the sake of point loss, but for the sake of spawning the hatch, if that makes sense. So that way Jazz can just sort of stealth down map. We can see Duck just, you know, do a door in front of his face, and then if Duck dies and Jazz gets out, and if Jazz gets grabbed then Duck gets out, and vice versa, right? So very interesting slow play style from Bleedouts here.
Yeah, very slow. I mean, Revolution doing the correct thing, obviously. He doesn't really give a damn if LV Duck were to bleed out in this scenario. He's just really protecting his gates here. He needs to really keep eyes on Duck, sorry. So, you know, as much as Jazz needs to get him up, Revolution, if he knows that he's over at the back of main, he knows they're not going to be working these gates. He needs to get both of them down before they get some sort of a reset where he's going to have no info. Jazz really playing this the slow game. You are right, they are going for a little bit of a trauma tech here to, you know, maybe potentially get even a hatch escape here, but I mean, yeah, he doesn't care. I mean, Revolution really doesn't care if, you know, LV Duck were to bleed out. Does see the pickup in the background. And he might opt to leave these gates now, especially if he knows that they're on the backside of main. And if he plays this a little too passively, they're going to get enough for one reset, and that's going to be detrimental to him. But no, we've opted to go for the split here on the side of Duck and Jazz. Duck hiding behind the main building and Jazz inside the main building. So really be interesting to see what they can really pull out of the hat here now. I would argue that they need to go for a reset. You cannot work these doors injured. The moment you do, Revolution is going to see you, tag you, and then go straight back to the other one. And if you've gone for a 2-2 split on the door, that's just the other survivor down too, and that's just the chalked up 4K1. They need to get a reset of some sort. Very risky because I think Revolution has eyes everywhere, and they do get a reset in the background. Are they going to 99 it, the 99 tech? They've already done that. Okay, so they've got both of them healthy. This is definitely still doable. Now they can go for the 2-2 split, which means Jazz will go for the gate over at behind the shack, and LV Duck will go for the one over at 5. These are somewhat Seabass gates, though, and if he has a nice little vantage point on the side of Revolution, he could definitely still chalk this up to the 4K1 like we had said earlier. But, again, not really spotting out any of the survivors crossing around for the gates. And again, playing it very passively on the side of Revolution. But Jazz and LV Duck also playing very slow, very passively, and this is just beautiful stuff here. I mean, they know the game plan, they know what they need to do. Revolution has a tall order here, as he does need to get a tag and a down on both survivors. And, you know, that could really be anywhere between 40 seconds, even if it is only 20 seconds, 20 to 40 seconds, which is ideally enough to get a gate done on a full health state for the other survivor that's not in chase. Very risky to play tags, especially if one comms that they're getting tagged and, you know, Revolution doesn't commit that, and the other one just kind of pre-leaves the door knowing fully, and then they go for another reset over where Revolution doesn't know. There's just so many possibilities that could really happen here, and it's just really hard to kind of draw what's going to happen. We're playing very aggressive on the side of Jazz for the door now over at Shaq, and we have seen him on the side of Revolution, and we are moving over to there. Jazz going to be playing the 7 filler here, and really needs to last for LV Duck in the background to get that door procced.
That's it.
He's just going to make it, unfortunately, for the side of Revolution. So this will be the door open. Wait, hang on a second. So we've decided not to commit the door on the side of LV Duck here. Very interesting stuff. I was certain he was out. He's going to be trying to take the chase away from the door. So maybe Jazz goes all the way back down to the other door and try to get it worked. Revolution a little too smart for that one, Chief, but that means LV Duck's going to be able to make the door scot-free. And I've been eating my words saying that this was going to be a 4K1 at best. I mean, Jazz is going to be playing around the shack for the hatch now. He can either option select to go for the hatch or go for the door. Going to be playing the window. Very nice. My God. Gross. That's disgusting. Even on 60 ping, he should be able to make that. But that is still 2 stages out the door for a 10-stage game at what really seemed to be a 4K2. The tunnel out at 4K3. My God, all things considered, this was a very good performance put up from Bleedout, and it just kind of shows why they are second in their group at the moment.
It was looking real grim for Bleedouts in the early game there, Hunter, and honestly...
Now, hopefully it all stays that way throughout the entirety of the match, but nevertheless, it will be Jazz on the killer if you didn't hear just before, and if you're tuning in just now, on the side of Rebirth survivors, it is Schleifen, Pizza, Revolution, and Maya. Now, Pizza's an interesting one, because I haven't seen Pizza actually compete this season. Very interesting. Maybe their new young gun, as we like to put it in Australia. I mean, I'm not really too sure, because the survivor lineup for the most part was just, you know, realistically, it would be someone like Fishgord or Crane, like, or even Usair's missing tonight, so quite interesting there. I mean, Usair's been one of their main survivors throughout the whole entirety of the tournament for the past 5 weeks, 6 weeks, so yeah, definitely a little bit stumped that he's not playing in the sets here on the side of me, but we will be seeing Jazz spawn into the top side of the map here and taking chase onto what seems to be our Nancy Mayer, but not opting to go for it. He's caught someone now over in mid, in the open. You need to find a pallet. You need to be in a safe position here, good sir. Revolution, it is our killer from last game, and he will be taking chase all the way around this filler pallet here. So he has found a pallet. He has found somewhere to be safe, and Jazz may be choosing to leave this chase here. And we have spotted our Ada out in the open. Pizza, that is a rookie mistake. He has medkit in hand. This potentially could be our deli survival. We have to be careful. We cannot be going down if this is the case. We've opted to go for... Oh, no, this is unfortunate. He's going to be getting slapped in the face, and we have spotted out Maya crossing as well. So we're going to be taking this pickup onto Pizza. You can only hope that this isn't our deliberate survivor, that this is somewhat of a bait on the side of our survivors. So Jazz going to be looking for a favorable hook here, more towards the middle of the map. We do see one just kind of outside of this hill over at the mid-3 section. We do see the Ruin in the background cleansed, and that's the first time of the night that we're going to be seeing that godforsaken perk at the moment cleansed, and it's going to be out of the game. So really unfortunate stuff here for Jazz, who's going to be not chasing these scratch marks over in main. He's going to opt to try and protect this hook and go for some gen pressure over at 3 because he does know May is around this area, as we did see the crossing over as Pizza opted for a death location as to oppose of a chase. And now we're going to be further chasing Pizza, who's going to be trying to make 5. Jazz is hungry for it, waiting out the endurance effect. And Pizza's going to be greening that pallet nicely, as they did still have the endurance effect at their disposal, so they were able to do so even if they still got hit, but just kind of whiffing thin air, unfortunately. Now pre-dropping these pallets on the side of Pizza, and this does look like a chase that's not really going to last that long if Jazz plays his cards right. We have been mind-gapped at the filler pallet, unfortunately not playing the check spots, trying to fake the pallet as well, but we're going to be going down, and again, that's going to be a very nice and quick one. Jazz going to be picking this up. Hopefully no decisive strike on the side of our survivors for the killer, but there's going to be none of the sort. We're going to be taking that pick and straight back on the hook they go. A gen in the background progressing as a result of these 2 chasers, but I still don't see a world where really we get another one done anytime soon. We do hear that Shaq has a fair bit of progress, maybe 2 to 3 pistons done. We do see 3 being worked once more by Maya, who's going to be just kind of sitting it, not going for the pull. We do see our Feng kind of rotating around the middle of the map. We have seen Schleifen, who is the captain, play a little bit earlier on in the tournament, but, you know, ultimately not really someone you really saw week through week, and now going to be slapping the pallet in the face of Jazz, who is going to be getting a little bit frustrated with that back bumping just a little bit, trying to play the Sin car, getting slapped in the face with the pallet, unfortunately not being able to connect the tag, and now that's going to allow Schleifen to go back all the way back in main, and now try to play the filler pallet in the middle, just pre-dropping that as well. We're nowhere near that. That's just kind of a waste of a resource there, especially if Jazz just elects to break that in a chase straight off the rip. But we are playing very protective on the side of Jazz. We want this tunnel out just before the next generator is procced, but unfortunately, we're going to be losing the trade on the side of Jazz. Going to be committing this chase once more onto Pizza, who doesn't really have a resource at their disposal to make 5. Hopefully, with enough haste and enough hope, will and determination, we can make a pallet. No, and we're going to be going down. If we can get a quick switch on the survivors just as this happens, just a quick switch onto Pizza before they get hooked to see if they're the deli survivor. No, don't do it now because we're going to get the bug, unfortunately. You can do it now. Surely we go back to their deli. Their deli. There's just no way they're not deli after we've looked at 3 survivors and that there's no deli. That just kind of gives the thought that, you know, the person with medkit in hand was the deli survivor. So a very strong perk out of the game. This is the 4th stage of the trial. No gen pressure in the background. If we look at the generator split, we do have main, we do have mid 3, we do have Shaq, and we do have another generator over at the bot side, so they're pretty fast spread. So this is definitely something in the favor of our survivors, but we have to play very methodically, very slow, and we cannot afford to be making any mistakes on the side of our survivors here.
Yeah, unfortunately, Pizza with the extra large tunnel out with no DS, not looking good for him. Just really unfortunate being found there, and just maybe a miscom or something there, getting on the gen with the medkit there as Jazz switched onto him, trying to track. I think it was a mistake there. I'm pretty sure Jazz was trying to find the Zarina. I think he was trying to find Revolution after he got blinded, and then he happened to see Pizza in the distance on the hill gen. I don't know why Deliverance was working the hill gen in the middle of the map. It's probably a bit of a macro mistake, but good for Jazz, I mean. Unfortunately, we are down to a 3v1 and 2 generators here on the side of Revolution survivors, on the side of Rebirth survivors, but if you take a peek at their gens, Hunter, this is anything but a 4-gen that Revolution had last game. These gens are pretty decently far apart, and this main gen is a little bit of a bust to sort of check on, and we do see Reset coming through onto Fung in the background there, which is great to see, but Jazz going to be rotating back over to Shaq, and we know Revolution is working this Shaq gen very slowly but surely, and honestly, this is looking very outable for Revolution at this point in time. If Revolution survivors better have some decent chases, because all things considered, Pizza didn't use that many resources. This Shaq side of the map especially has a good bit of resources available to him, and he is also chasing the Blood play in Revolution, one of the strongest players on Rebirth. He has Bust to work with as well. Like, This is not looking bad for Rebirth as well, although we are getting very liberal with the resources. A bit too liberal, if you ask me, but Jazz also on the low ping, so we can afford to do this, but Revolution not falling for a double back there, as he just kind of plays Bloodlust Blight, so just M1 walking around the bus here. You have a Power Man, you can use it at any time, but you can also just Bloodlust this arena at the bus, that's cool too, but he is going to get the M1 anyway, just by just walking out this arena awkwardly, which is kind of funny, but we get the tag into Revolution as he heads back over to this side of the map. He has the bus to work with here, but unfortunately Revolution will be ducking into a power there, but unless we have a head-on here, we do have a head-on! Great plays from Revolution, buying his team a ton of time to just split the gens on the other side of the map, but unfortunately we just ran into Jazz there, not quite paying attention. We see a triple option spread up across the entire map, and that chase was pretty long, all things considered, but hopefully that was caught, and we do see the hill gen also pretty high progress. I think that's the main gen Fung's working on too. It's about halfway through, so Rebirth are honestly in a decent position to win here, Hunter, if they're able to get some outs.
Oh, this is not Mamma the Mia for Jazz. He really has to take advantage of this scenario, having Revolution down in the background and actually putting the game to a hold here. So, you know, Maya playing very nice around these check spots. Unfortunately, getting a little bit mind game there, just playing that very well around the T. Got to be taking this early tag. Now trying to use the L wall to the best of our capability. And Maya's just W to the T-ball as well is going to be trying to vault this. The 50-50 not coming in for Jazz, unfortunately. You have to use your power, good sir. He has been very reluctant to use it in a few of these chases, you know, as you did mention over in the head-on chase over at 9. He could have, or 8, sorry, he could have used it. But, you know, he just opted to go for just the walk me down, honestly. And, you know, I don't necessarily disagree with that, but it just... he just wasn't really in a position where he could have afforded that. He had to get that down. He had to make use of, obviously, the Blight's power being so fast, being so quick, and instead of going for just the basic M1 and then following up with the rushes afterwards. But nevertheless, we have caught out Schleifen here at the check spot, very out of position, unfortunately, and now I think the game's just come to a little bit of a standstill for the side of our survivors. We're just getting mind game through this. This is you know what? I hate to say it, but it is a bit of a poor chase in this scenario. Definitely needs something a little bit more of the longer side, especially if you just meant pre-dropping the pallet and not preserving the resource. Jazz just took advantage of that, and now it's going to be the second stage onto Schleifen, which was probably 5th stage of the match. 3 fresh at the moment, so you know definitely still able to pull it back for the side of our survivors here. You know they need at least 10 stages out the door. They can't have any more given up, otherwise we're reaching the Tycon, and then above that we're otherwise we're, you know, reaching towards 4K territory, and that'll just be the win for Jazz. But nevertheless, we have opted to just kick that generator over in Shack. This one over here, mid 3, was also very high progressed once upon a time back in its glory days, and now just kind of sitting piss poor at like 30% generator progress. And now Jazz can kind of just sit comfortably here, park the bus, doesn't really need to do much here, as he only really needs to wait out an extra 25 seconds for this hook to really dissipate into thin air. Maybe in the background we do have a spicy Revolution or May are going to be snagging a pull here. Correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't seen Decisive Strike in play at the moment, so hopefully it is Schleifen. This is body blockable on the side of Jazz, but unfortunately not being able to do much with it. We do see the second win come into the trial as well on the side of Schleifen. If hopefully we can just last long enough for it to be able to happen, and now going to be vaulting this pallet here with the life as well. Very nice stuff from Schleifen, and this is just probably going to really give Schleifen that extra bit of distance, and now he's able to really take advantage of the second win, take a tag, and really get out of this godforsaken position over at 5. But I'm getting a little bit stuck here on the side of Jazz. We've opted to play the pallet here on the side of Schleifen. That's really bad. There is a slug in the background, it being Revolution, and now Mayo just kind of caught in a predicament of, are they just committing that generator? And it does look like that is the case. It does look like they've just gone for the pressure over at 3 here. So if Jazz is able to find this chase in the meantime, this could spell really bad news for our survivors over at the side of Revolution. My God, no, the player is Revolution, the team is Rebirth, but nevertheless, we'll be not finding Maya. We're going for that pickup onto Schleifen, who will be out of the game, and Maya just going to be playing the generator as well. I'm not too sure I agree with this, because we might see the scratch marks leading towards that general area, and I think Jazz knows that and sees that the generator hasn't been regressing any longer. It has been stopped by the survivor just stealthing around. We see the scratch marks, and this is just chalked up to a 4K1 if we can manage to get Maya down. And Revolution is fresh, but it doesn't really matter in this regard, because Jazz will win on the generators if he is to kill everyone and slug everyone right now, unfortunately, for Rebirth. So this will be Bleedout's just ultimately taking Rebirth's pick. They just kind of have to go into the dredge set and hope for a better result as to what this Blight result showed for them. Yeah, I mean, still a very tough game for Jazz. He was looking pretty dicey over at that chase over more towards that 7 to 8 zone, just a little bit earlier on the side of Revolution, but going to be taking the down onto Maya now, and this will spell just the end of the game at 4K1.
Yeah, it was looking pretty scary for Jazz at some points during this game, but yeah, he was able to bring it back. I don't think, I hate to sound like a bit of an ass, but I think this was largely due to Rebirth making some pretty key mistakes and not having great chases. I think if Jazz had gone for a bit more longer chases, we might have seen outs and, you know, a middling stage win con like 8 to 9 stages, and Jazz would have lost the Blight set. So, unfortunately, Rebirth just making some key mistakes there, unable to really keep up against Jazz, which is a shame to see for them. Losing their set can't be good for morale, but they still have the dredge set, and while it is heavily in Bleedout's favor, you never say never. You know, miracles can happen, and they could do really well in the dredge set. But unless you have any finishing remarks, Hunter will be going into a short intermission.
Obviously being paired with Field Recorder, we all know what Field Recorder does. But nevertheless, we're moving on into the game now. So, you know, I think JD's more than capable of pulling a result like 4K2 once more. 4K2 seems to be like the norm amongst really good dredge players. You know, I know Cash loves that result on his dredge. I know even Nortor was pulling a lot of 4K2s when we were scrimming a lot. And he's the new Wraith in a sense, if you will. You know, just the infamous 4K killer. We haven't really seen many outs this season on the dredge sets, even last season as well. And I think that's just due to the fact that Field Recorders is such a strong add-on to really be able to traverse through these lockers very effectively, quickly. Just in Nightfall, you know, starting the trial into Nightfall can prove to be pretty difficult for the survivors to play around. But going to be taking the first chase here onto Schlieffen himself, dropping this filler pallet over in top 4. Going to be narrowly missing that. My God, how do you make that on 150 ping? But going to be opting to go all the way down to the bottom, to the top 6 side of the map. Top 5, if you will. Got this nice little pallet to work with here, but the lockers to get juked around. Playing that very nicely on the side of Schlieffen. Now playing the check spots very well. JD getting a little bit fumbly there. Is going to opt to leave that chase and go for something a little bit more in his favor. Maybe someone out of position. Open your eyes, Pizza! You're going to get tagged through the God pallet. It's such a waste of a resource. And now getting mind games at the top of top 11. That is not what you need for the first chase here. We need to be a little bit more attentive than that. Maybe some comms gone wrong. Maybe we're just not really looking at where we need to be looking. And now we've got a really tall order for Pizza to be able to play around this top 9 side. Playing it nicely. The Remnant a little bit out of place on the side of JD. But now Pizza's able to make this pallet over at Music Room top 7, if you will, just above the Macca's drive-through. Now we're going to be using this table to our advantage, but the Remnant in the right spot. JD playing very nicely to counteract Pizza's movements, and this will be the first down and the first hook of the trial. Small.
Blood favor on dredge is a nasty thing. It's a hell of a thing. And Pizza, unfortunately, being caught out 2 games in a row now, not quite paying attention. Maybe the comms are a bit off on the side of Rebirth. And yeah, as you were saying, you don't see many outs on dredge, you know. Only bad dredges get outs, am I right, guys? But, yeah, we do find Maya here down at this pallet. Just going to be zoning them away. I'll back up to the top here. And this gen is pretty high prog, but we do also have the buffed Ruin in play here with Mr. JD. So that gen will be regressing at 150%. We also don't have any gen kick perks. We have Surge and Sloppy as our 2 other perks here, which do enable us to go for a bit of a hit and run sluggish playstyle here, which is a really good way to play Dredge, a very powerful way. But bringing a build like this, you've got to be confident in getting your quick downs. So you're going to be a very confident Dredge player to do things like that. And we do pop this generator here. I'm surprised. Oh yeah, because JD never kicked that gen, so that gold part's still actually active. And unfortunately, in the background, while all that was happening, Pizza's gotten tunneled out, which is a shame to see. And we do see Revolution here holding this pallet, but with World Place Remnant, I think JD should be able to get it. But somehow we're getting mind game on that pallet, which is unfortunate, forcing Revolution to rotate over to the piano room, which is not great. But thankfully, this locker is locked, so it does buy Revolution a lot of distance here, and means he can't go for a bit of a snowball slug, forcing JD to retreat back over to his slug to get his second stage hook onto Pizza. But in the background there, we have seen a 3rd generator pop, and I was concerned about Rebirth, but they're popping gens left, right, center, Hunter.
What the hell are you... Dude, I swear just a moment ago we were in such a good position on the side of JD, and it's I don't even want to say that the slug was the wrong play there. How the hell did they pull out of their ass 3 generators all in the meantime where just that chase onto pieces just really didn't seem that long, and well, those 2 chases rather, sorry. I mean, you gotta really give credit to the survivors. They're doing bits, and Schlieffen, I was scared that they lagged out for a second. That looked extremely weird, but JD is gonna be now taking initiative to really put some map pressure back on the board. We are locking lockers as well on the side of our survivors. I think this is our sprint burst in hand on the side of Maya, who will be zoned all the way into bottom 12. And we're not opting to chase that on the side of JD. We're going straight back to our hook to secure this tunnel out of 2 generators remaining. We have spotted out the stealthing survivor for the save. They are healthy at the moment, and it is Schlieffen who will probably just going to be eating this tag, getting body blocked and fat shamed here around the middle of the hallway. My God, we've graduated from BBU. Like, my God. JD gonna be
my God.
He's the professor. He's actually the professor. But he's gonna be going back onto his patrol gear, and you know, we're still definitely in 4K2 territory if we can manage to down all these survivors now. They are injured. They do have Sloppy, Butcher in effect. Ruin's still up as well. Blood Favor's still up, so we're just ignoring totems, just being able to really prevail throughout this trial. I mean, yeah, it's just really impressive for the side of our survivors to be able to do so, considering they're 2 of the strongest hex perks in the game. We do manage to get on one of them on the side of our tap here. You know, Schlieffen doing God's work, not being able to get resets. So says, hey, I'm going to do this totem instead, but gets caught out by JD. JD's going to be taking this chase over at the bottom 12 side. Now greeting the Pala is Schlieffen, who's going to be pre-dropping it instantly and now going all the way down into bottom 1, maybe no, bottom 10. He does not make that bottom 11 pallet. That's crazy. He's just going to be going down, unfortunately. Bottom 12, bottom 11, I don't even know what this is anymore, but nevertheless, we'll be taking this hook on to Schlieffen. That will be their first hook of the trial. You know, no pain raise in the back pocket of JD. Very smart not to bring that perk, as it is pretty RNG dependent, and you can get really screwed over by some of the hook spawns in this map, especially obviously having 2 levels to the map. We will be taking the first hook onto Schlieffen, and this will be the 4th stage of the game. And even though on paper it looks like you have an extra, like 8 stages to work with, you look at the game and where the survivors are currently positioned and the amount of progress is happening on the map and the pressure that JD has really applied, it looks extremely bad for them, you know? Nevertheless, it still could go either way, you know, depending on how both sides play. We are going to be taking this chase back onto Mahia. Both survivors injured in the background, and you know, maybe they go for a reset play a little bit slower. Maybe they go for some gen pressure. If they go for gen pressure, Maya really has to last in this chase, and now we're going to be placing the remnant on the side of JD. And I wonder what Maya's doing at the moment. Have we slow vaulted the pallet, and we have done so nicely. We're going to be eating a tag there, but like I said, if we're really pressing those generators in the background, and that kind of gives me the food for thought that we are, since we do not see a reset, we need to last long in this chase on the side of Maya, and we have not done so, unfortunately. And this will be a slug, this will be a teleport, and a potential down for the side of Revolution if he's not able to really last in this chase. We just vaulted into his loving embrace, and now we're going to be slugging that as well. And going up to top 12, hopefully we've made enough distance to really get away from that top 12 generator on the side of Schlieffen. But we've got mind-gamed at the locker. No, that's criminal. JD's chalked it up to a 4K2, ladies and gents. He's heard it here first.
Average result for the judge at this point, 4K2, fucking me, and I'm ashamed that I got fucking 9 stage, Jesus Christ, but very well played from JD, unfortunate from Rebirth. They just tried to power through the generators there, but unfortunately, may have solved the power successfully, but then they just kind of stood there and didn't touch the remnant. It was, maybe they didn't realize it was placed, but very unfortunate on the side of Rebirth there, 4K2, Tycon, or their dredge player, and given that Bleedout have the opportunity to just come in JD internally, I don't think they'll be getting 4K2, but never say never. Rebirth could come out, secure that Tycon, and then be maybe even get a win con at 4K3 if you're feeling extra generous. But as Maya begs for their life there on the floor, shaking with the Nopers, we do unfortunately get that 4K2 there. Very well done once again from JD. Again, Ruin lasting far longer than it has any right to last. My God, it just seems to be eternal, this Ruin, even though it's no one dying or anything. So very, very, again, once again, another masterclass dredge set from the young JD. Very well played to him, and good effort from Rebirth. What you can go for to then go to the unknown Firebreaker set, which is favored towards Bleedouts as well. But if he wants to win the set, he has to get a 4K3, which is quite the tall order. And looking at his build, we do not have... Oh, we don't have Field Recorder. We have Corrupt Intervention. Okay.
Well, okay, maybe we just didn't read the balancing, unfortunately, but maybe this is comfort. I don't know. Corrupt Intervention, interesting. Doesn't really do much, unfortunately. Kind of a wasted perk. No Field Recorder. Big no-no. We're not even starting the trial in Nightfall, and I'm pretty sure that's even throwing the survivors a little off guard. We've opted to bring Mouthinker's Skull as to oppose a Field Recorder, which is quite interesting. Quite an interesting choice, but yeah, nevertheless, getting some nice gen progress in the background on the survivors. If we really switched properly, I think that was 2 generators in the background being currently progressed, as we haven't really found anyone. We do manage to find this generator at 2 pistons, and we have found our Lara, it does seem, which is Jazz, or maybe not. Maybe this is another survivor. It does seem like it might be a Dwight with a blue shirt. I'm not too sure. If I squint my old man eyes, maybe I can see it is Hearts, the Dwight. Yes, I have my eyesight has served me well. We're not getting kicked through that bottom 11 pallet like last game. No, nothing of the sort this game, unfortunately, for the side of Revolution. But 6 Hearts playing that very well. First pallet of the trial dropped and dusted, and we do see top 5 being progressed over on the side of, what was this, top 11? No, it's top 11, my god. On the side of Jazz and what seems to be Hearts, who escaped the chase a little bit earlier. Now, first chase going to JD, dropping that pallet instantly with the first generator procced in the background. This is not what you want for the side of Revolution if you're chasing a 4K3 win con. We're going to be getting slapped on the side of JD, so this tag is going to have to be pretty quick and imminent on the side. This down, rather, is going to have to be quick and intimate. My god, not quick and intimate, my god. Hey, you know what? Screw it. It was going to have to be quick, but we've opted to go for the quick tap and then the teleport all the way back onto our David LV Duck here, which is a very interesting play for the side of Revolution. He's really playing amongst his sloppy butcher pretty early.
Yeah, he's playing around like a hit and run play style, but I think not having Field Recorder is like he has Mouthinker's Skull, right? Which, in case you don't know what Mouthinker's Skull does, for every injured survivor on the board, it increases Nightfall's generation by 33%. It's actually a pretty good effect, especially if you can get 3 to 4 survivors injured. You get Nightfall pretty often, and we're about to see Nightfall happening now. Which is really quick as well, all things considered. So we finally get the first end onto LV Duck there, as we do get the first hook of the game, and we're seeing JD being reset as well by Hearts. We see the reset coming through now, while Jazz is about halfway through a gen. When Jazz's gen pops, we'll be at the win con, and unfortunately we have, I don't think we're able to find the generator in time before pop. No, we do find another generator here, but it's already been erupted, so we're unable to locate Jazz's gen just as of yet, but we do find him here on the Killer Instinct. And we're just going to be applying our Popper Rupture to that generator, and I don't think we're going to be committing to Jazz. Likely we're going to be trying to go for a more traditional playstyle with a Tunnel Out, but yeah, Bleedout's, they're in a pretty strong position here. We've only seen the first hook come through, but Revolution playing is like getting rid of all these really strong resources. We do cut off Jazz again, try to get that generator to stop progressing, but no, he's going to be rotating back into the courtyard. He does manage to stop him progressing, forcing Revolution to stop against the gen, but we still have about a little just under halfway of our Nightfall left, so we still have a good bit of wiggle room to sort of teleport around now, have a gaze around, apply eruptions wherever we see fit. We see the unhook happening to Duck, but Revolution doesn't seem to give a damn as he just drops back down onto this generator to try and catch out Jazz. We don't find Jazz anywhere as he tries to go back to intercept the tunnel, and he successfully finds some resetting, but Sloppy Butcher will cause that heal to fully regress. Doc does have Sprint Burst who's able to escape, but with a bit of a cheeky TP, we might be able to commit to our tunnel, but no. We see Hearts, unfortunately, giving the Dredge a big old hug there, which does trigger Eruption as well. And Duck will be, Duck, you can open your eyes, buddy! There's a Dredge in the way! As we see 2 Bleedout survivors on the floor here at 4 gens. And honestly, it's right next to basement 2. This could be a win for Rebirth if they play their cards right, Hunter.
Not good, not good. Oh, we do get another generator in the background procced, but we are still at the win con for our killer here. Jazz just committing this generator over in the background, and we do see someone stealth for the pull here. It is JD, who's been a little bit baited, but it's brought Jazz just enough time to probably secure that other generator in the background to chop it up to a 4K2 at the very least. Which was their result last time they played a Dredge set against Nortor last week against Omen, but again, Revolution a little bit hesitant to get this pull onto LV Duck here, as Jazz just committing that bottom 6 generator ever so nicely does so. So things were looking like extremely bad, as we didn't really know where the progression was back a little bit, like maybe 30 seconds ago, Spunk. But Revolution going to go back up now and go see if he can spot this stealth out survivor, which had been Jazz. He's played this very well. He's opted to actually Houdini out of the place, and we have not caught sight of him. And JD's still wandering around the map injured at the moment, and it does seem we've caught someone working this top 3 generator. I think, yeah, I think it's top 3. I pray that it's top 3. Is it top? No, it's top 9. Oh, okay, yeah, it is. It's top 5. Okay. But we haven't spotted them out. You know, I do think it was JD who was over there, and this will be the healthy survivor going down into the basement, which should be Jazz getting the unhook. And now we are going to be fat. Very fat. Very fat. Extremely fat. Even more so fat that we got it. No, I think this is still set. No, I thought it was safe still. Anyway, quick pick up onto LV Doc, surely? Or we scared?
No. Scared with the pallet. I think Jazz is nearby, like for that save. We do get the eruption tag though, so we do see JD here working that generator, and we're keen to stop it because we are playing around 4K2 Tycoon at the moment, and Bleedout are trying for a little bit of a miracle recovery with a Nightfall active. Unfortunately, Revolution has banished himself to the basement as Jazz is trying to get that pickup, I'm sure, and we do see the pickup coming through there onto Duck, likely a power drop as well, but we get stunned on the wrong side, which I think might have sent this Duck to a bit of death as we get the TP as well, cutting off Doc, able to get that down there, and we see all 4 of Bleedout survivors injured. We still have a bit over half of our Nightfall left here, so this could potentially lead into a 4-man slug if Bleedout don't play too carefully, but we can see Revolution's a little bit nervous. JD's gen is about halfway through, and he hasn't interrupted it yet there. Jazz bolting back, and unfortunately getting tucked down to get it. We need to find Hearts, and JD shouldn't be too hard with a bit of teleporting around. We should be able to find JD right here, but this is our smash hit player as well, but no gens to be found. He is going for the quick, cheeky little kick on the generator before going back down to his slugs, likely expecting Hearts to go for the pickups, which is exactly what's happening. We see a heartbeat nearby, and we also find JD, but Hearts is able to rotate there for the pickup onto Jazz as Duck gets picked up for the kill. I think this is a mistake on a killer's end, and he should have played up more hardcore for the slugs. He knew Hearts was rotating for the saves, and I'm not too sure why he just decided to not go for the kill here, instead taking Hearts out the game here, and teleports back to this generator to apply pop interruption yet again, and allowing Jazz and Hearts to sort of just reset themselves on the other side of the map.
Oh, that could have been so good if the locker wasn't locked, but yeah, I do get more so the premise of what you're saying, Smont. We are going to be taking chase all the way up to the top 3 side of the map on the side of JD, just playing very nicely, even though he is injured, playing very smart and playing a little bit different to when he did last week against Noltor. So it's still looking pretty dicey. Oh, gonna have to really pull something out of the hat here on the side of our survivors, even though we're both healthy at the moment. Hearts is going to be locking locker ASAP. Do have LV Duck out of the game, which is just not what you want. And I mean, it can really go either way. There's progression on 2 sides of the map, you know, and there's progression over at bottom 2 and top 9. And with all the locks really being used in this trial, I mean, oh, Hearts, open your eyes, friends, no! All right, we are taking the chase here. We have scathed away and not going to be eating a tag, and we played around that pallet very nicely, so we redeemed ourselves by kind of just running into the loving embrace of our killer almost, but playing a mind games very nicely as well. We're going to be reading straight through that and playing the long room. This pallet can prove to be pretty difficult if not broken, and Revolution knows they're going to be taking the quick break onto that. Knows there's no unhook at the moment. Opted to go for some gen pressure here, and we do hear faintly that our sneaky Lara Croft has rotated to the top 9 generator, but we have been caught out, and we gotta play it carefully. Jazz is going to be using the check spots on this top 10 filler here. He's going to be getting tagged, unfortunately, as we have pre-dropped it and been read straight through, and Revolution has a chance to just teleport onto Jazz if we're not careful. There's a lock still on this locker, and it's saved. It's game-saving stuff. Maybe JD and Hearts in the background just slamming out that bottom 2 generator. Jazz has to go on the chase of his life at the moment around the table here, playing the check spots very nicely, reacting very nicely to not getting mind games, but we're going down, unfortunately. Revolution has to go to this gen ASAP. He cannot afford to waste any time, and now he does. He's going to be getting a little bit screwed over by the locks of the locker, and just lucky he has...
Barely progressed.
Yeah, it's I thought it was a little bit more progressed than that. I didn't see that they were resetting in the background, as they are both nice and healthy at the moment. They did go maybe for a little bit of a 99 tech, or maybe I'm just stupid and missed the entire reset on the side of the avatars, but in all honesty, it is still looking pretty chalk if we're not really able to skate away from this on the side of Hearts getting tagged in the process, now running all the way down to bottom 12, I think, but really using all these locks on the locker on the side of Revolution, just going to be committing for this down onto 6 hearts. He's playing very nicely around this top 12 pallet here, faking the vault as well, trying to play the Remnant by going down in the process. Do we slug here, or we're going to opt to go for the pickup? So pretty risky stuff here. Jazz still injured in the trial, and we do know they were working top 9, but the game has came to an absolute halt here, and we are at a massive standstill where Revolution is just such in a power position at the moment. And really putting the pressure on now, this mid to late game. Now I think is Skull coming in, I think, even though we were pretty skeptical on the fact that he brought in Corrupt Intervention and no field recorder. He has done well for what it is worth. Could you imagine if he did bring in those add-ons? My God, I think they would have served him just a little bit better. But we have found JD, who's going to be slapping the pallet in Revolution's face over at this bottom 10 tile here. We're not opting to chase that on the side of Revolution. We are going back up to the generators. We do see one over at top 9 being worked, top 7 not being touched. It is... There only's like 2 kicks on that generator left, and that's giving me major anxiety. But we see JD playing aggressive for it, which is the right play, being the healthy survivor, and JD and Heart's probably going to try and meet up somewhere for a reset, Smon.
Yes, a quarter down to a quarter, like you said. JD working in general is about a quarter, and maybe I do get my wish of a JD Unknown casting set. I hope so. We know JD was here just like moments before, no? So he should be very close nearby to where the dredge is at the moment, but I think he's evaded him just a little bit, as we do still have this gold power here. We find Jazz a little bit out of position here, last fresh hook on the ball. But with this TP, we might be able to get Jazz down, but no. I think we still have both our clock tower powers, so this should just buy us a little bit of time, unless we go for some insane monkey swing. I want to get Jazz down, but no. We're just building Jazz a little. Jazz building himself a little house here on our shack for the summer, some might say. But we go for a very ambitious swing there, as Jazz does get the vault, making a good bit of distance. But we go for a little bit of TP, and Jazz gets caught out just a little bit, but he still has his power back to clock down to fall back on. And all the while, that gen that JD is doing is slowly crawling up. But we a bit of a fail slow vault there. We do see. I think that's hearts on that generator. No, run hearts, run 6 hearts, run my boy to the hills.
Hold on the jet, son! Hold on the jet!
Pump it! You gotta pump it! JD's just to the top, he's gonna get it, but he needs to get them down. Oh, he's gets on, but no, he gets the grab. That's not what you want. You want the slug as the last gen pops in the background. Bleedout has barely secured their 4K1 win con, but Revolution here will be able to find JD, and that is a 2-0 victory to Bleedouts as Rebirth are eliminated here.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm going to lose my voice over it because it was so close. The fact that we're acting like this for the 4K1 is crazy. I would have thought it would have been something among the outs, but this will be the end of JD and Jazz over at this clock tower palette. And, you know, you really got to give credit to Jazz as well. I mean, like, having this chase around this courtyard area really saved the game. I mean, if Jazz was able, like, just getting 2-tapped and we managed to catch 6 hearts just that little bit earlier, like, exactly like the way we did, JD would have never have got that gen over a top 9 done, and that would have been the 4K2, would have been going for the unknown set. But no unknown set tonight, unfortunately for you and I, Smonk, but fortunate enough for Bleedouts to take away the 2-0 victory once more, as they did last week, and I do believe the week before that. They've played really well throughout the entire tournament, so well deserved. But yes, Rebirth, thank you for participating. We'll see you next season, hopefully, fingers crossed, if you do choose to join us there. Same with Pay Money to My Pain. You guys played very well throughout the group stage, and we loved to see it all.